You are beautiful. You are powerful. You are worthy.
Hey beautiful, welcome back to the Kiya Convos podcast. I'm your host and founder of Kiya Cosmetics, Kate Anwar, and today we have the gorgeous Beulah.
Hi.
Hey girl.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. So, gonna get straight into it. Let us know who you are and your journey up until becoming the fitness goddess that you are.
Fitness goddess is a stretch. I am Beulah Davina. I am currently on a mission to get people to eat less ultra-processed foods, less sugar, and move their bodies more.
Mm-hmm.
My journey is very different. Like the destination I'm going towards now is different to where I started.
Mm-hmm.
I started online in the hair space. So specifically natural hair, that's how we met.
Yes.
And yeah, I started off on Tumblr. So that shows how old I am. And I was on Tumblr and I was basically just curating loads of images of people with afro and kinky hair. Because initially I was like, I lived in Bristol and I lived in a white area and all I saw was straight hair. And I was like, I keep seeing it and that's what I want. I want straight hair. So I was like, if I keep on looking at like more kinkier textures, a 4C hair, 4B hair, maybe that'll make me want it more. Mm-hmm. So I started doing that, and then I started looking into how you look after it, etc., etc. Then I started looking after my own natural hair, and I found out all these tips and thought, if I don't know how to do this stuff, other people might not either. Mm-hmm. So I started sharing more and more, and then I moved on to Instagram, and I became the Creamy Crack Rehab.
Yeah.
Throwback. And yeah, that's what I started off doing, and kind of recorded throughout my life, and now I'm like pivoting to this new journey.
Mm-hmm. So at that time when you first started Tumblr days, Creamy Crack Rehab, when you initially started, were you already natural or?
So when I first started on Tumblr, I think I had just decided I was going to stop relaxing my hair.
Okay.
But I hadn't like done a big chop or anything. Mm-hmm. I just kind of was like, I'm just not going to put relaxer in. Mm-hmm. And my friends were like, well, what are you doing? What do you mean you're not putting relaxer in? My friends made a hashtag, unchain those pepper grains. It was like a whole thing. But I was like, no, I'm going to do this. And I'm a very stubborn person. So I was like, once I've said it, I'm going to do it. And so, yeah, the Tumblr kind of like helped me and kept me accountable. But I didn't become fully natural, I think, for about 6 months. And then once I was ready to chop off the ends, then that was it.
Okay, perfect. So during that time, were you already sort of passionate about fitness, or were you hadn't quite started that journey?
So I had started going to the gym. Someone from my work was like, let's go to the gym together. And I was like, oh, why? And then she took me and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun and I can't do anything, so this is great. I love a challenge. So I started getting really into the gym. And so for a majority of from my early 20s up until now, I've been pretty consistent in the gym. Some years it was only like maybe 3 times in a week. Other years it was like 5 times a week.
You said only 3.
I also have quite an addictive personality. So if I like something, I'm like, I'm going to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so yeah, I've been pretty consistent with fitness throughout that. I just didn't share it online.
Okay. So as you mentioned, we met during your Creamy Crack Rehab days, and you were this amazing hair influencer, still hair goals. So what did that journey look like into deciding, you know what, I'm going to transition out of this and now focus on this new fitness, nutrition, lifestyle journey online?
Okay, what did it look like? Well, so when it came to the hair stuff, I was very much like, if I don't know this stuff, then there might be other people who don't, so let me share it. And then it kind of became the same with the fitness stuff. I knew there's loads of fitness stuff online, but I didn't really see a lot of people, especially people that look like me, talking about the nutrition side of it. Mm-hmm. So once I started learning more about ultra-processed foods and like the damage that it can do, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know any of this. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, maybe if people don't know it, no, if I don't know it, maybe other people don't know it either, let me start sharing. So that's kind of like how I started pivoting. I also found that, I mean, there's only so many times I can wash my hair on camera. So I've been doing it for a few years and I loved it, but then I was like, this isn't my passion anymore. I'm more passionate about this. So I've been slowly making the pivot and here we are.
Yeah. So how did that journey start for you personally? What made you decide, okay, I'm actually interested in nutrition, I want to learn more about it? How did that journey go for you personally?
Okay, so I started thinking more about my health. I've always been like, oh, health is wealth. People say it, right? But I didn't really know what it meant. And then someone really close to me had a few strokes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was maybe 2-3 years ago. And so then I was like, oh, no. Like, health is actually wealth. Like, when you're ill, it's not the one. I was like, I don't want that. And then I started learning the things like strokes and heart disease, which is something that they also have. It's super common. And it's something that sometimes can't be avoided. But a lot of the time it is actually caused by diet.
Oh, wow.
And there are quite a few chronic illnesses which are caused by diet. So then when I learned that, I was like, yo, I eat like crap. I always justified, I can eat whatever I want because I go to the gym. And I'm like, I exercise, so who cares? I'm going to eat like whatever. So then I started looking at what I was eating and I was like, yo, this isn't okay. And then I read this book called Ultra Processed People, and that just like spun me. So the book is just, it basically explains what ultra processed foods are, why they've been made, how they've been made, and what they do to us. And when I read it, I was like, I can't eat any of this anymore. And so that was, how it started.
And when was that?
That was actually last year.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was like the beginning part of last year. I read the book and then I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you mentioned you were going to the gym consistently for 10 years up until that point. Okay, interesting. So when you first read the book, what were the first things you started doing in terms of implementing changes or trying to implement changes?
So the first thing I did was start reading labels.
Okay.
I was just like, in the book, he talks about certain things, let's say, for instance, ice cream. And so ice cream stays in its structure, even though it gets transported from like one factory to like a wholesaler to then the supermarket and then to your house. To think about the fact that it stays in that state and doesn't melt, how do they do that? So they put loads of like chemicals and all of these things in it.
Oh, wow.
So then I was like, oh. So then I started thinking,
it was just because it was frozen.
no, because it can't remain frozen the whole time.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking about all of these other things that I eat. And I was like, oh, like what is in them? Like, well, how do they stay the way that they stay? Like, I don't know if you've seen like Super Size Me or whatever, where the guy had that experiment where he had McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
And then there was another person that did like McDonald's and like left it for ages and it just doesn't like decompose or go off. And it's like, well, what's in it? So I started reading labels and I was like, oh, I don't know what half of this stuff is. Maybe I shouldn't be putting it in my body. So I started off by reading labels. And then I was also looking at sugar and just the fact that I was addicted to it. I was addicted to ultra processed foods, but I was also addicted to sugar. So I was like, right, I need to cut out sugar. And everyone who tells me to cut out sugar, they just say, just stop eating it for 3 days and you'll be fine. 3 days is a long time. Like, I'd sit there and be like, today is the day. It's Monday. I'm ready. I'm on it. I'm not eating any sugar. 3 hours later, I'm grabbing a chocolate bar. Like, it just wasn't feasible to me. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to like give up sugar straight away. I'm just going to slowly but surely cut things out and then see how it goes. So it went from me getting my coffee order, which wasn't actually coffee. It was a chai latte. So I'd get a chai latte. But at this point, I was like deep in the sugar. So I was having like a vanilla chai latte, which is banging, by the way, like so nice, so sweet. So I was like, right, I'm going to stop getting that. If I go to a coffee shop, I'm only getting a black coffee, no sugar. Oh, wow. So I started that. That's a big jump. It was a leap, but I actually liked black coffee initially, so it was fine. I would just say if you're someone who likes maybe like a flat white with 2 sugars, maybe just have 1 sugar and then maybe go down to 0 sugars. And then, so I'd reduce sugar that way. I'd start substituting things. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to have a chocolate bar. Maybe I'm going to have some nuts instead and just do that slowly. And then, eventually I was able to make the change.
Okay, wow. That's I mean, that requires a lot of discipline.
It does, yeah.
Were you always quite disciplined?
Yeah. So I'm someone who's like, I'm very stubborn, and somehow being stubborn has meant that I'm able to stick to things even if I don't necessarily want to. And also I've just learned loads of things when it comes to like habits and deciding that if you're going to do something, if you actually do it, you you're then able to like have more faith in yourself and trust yourself. So it's like, if I commit to something, I have to do it. And then it gives you a dopamine rush to then keep on setting targets and then actually like achieving them.
Yeah.
So yeah, discipline's it's a pretty good thing.
It was 72 days.
72 days, yeah. Okay,
what
cool.
made you do it?
Yeah. Okay, so I was very much like, I was on this journey and I was like, right, I've reduced my sugar and I'm reducing my ultra processed foods. But then it would still be like, maybe it gets to like Saturday and I'm like, what's the weekend? So I'm just going to have, I don't know, like some chicken dippers and chips from the oven and a huge dessert, because why not? And then I was like, no, actually, what would happen if I decided to just stick to this like diet? Like, what would happen? So I was like, let me just see. I was like, my birthday is at the end of the year. So I was like, I'm just going to do this challenge up until like just before my birthday, Christmas, and then see if anything happens. My birthday is 2 days before Christmas. I remember. Yeah. So I was like, let me just see what happens. Like, you know, what happens if you just double down and commit to this properly? So I said, right, for 72 days, I am not going to have any ultra processed foods. I'm not going to have anything with added sugar, like nothing at all, not even ketchup or just nothing with added sugar. I'm going to exercise every single day for at least 30 minutes. At that point, I wasn't exercising daily. I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where I was like every day. It would usually be, I think the limit was about 5 days a week. So I was like, no, every day. And drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day, which I found very difficult because I do drink water, but I'm just like, it's just so much. And I don't like using like toilets outside. So it was just long.
Does that regulate? Because I've tried. Okay.
You just have to push through. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, plan it when you've got a couple of days where you're just in the house. And then, but yeah. So it was no ultra processed foods, no sugar, 2 to 3 liters of water, and 30 minutes of exercise every day. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I sent it to my partner. He was like, yeah, I'm on it. Let's do it together. And then I was like, oh, let's see if anyone else wants to do it. So I said, I'll post it online and see if anyone wants to join me. Weirdly enough, people joined me. I was like, we're all psychos together. And yeah, it was crazy. I don't even know how it felt. For the first 3 weeks, I was like, this is hard. And I don't want to do this anymore. I was hating it for a while because I was having like small cravings, because I was used to at least knowing that on the weekend I can have something that I wanted. When the weekend came, I was like, yo, like I have to cook again. So I didn't love it initially. But I got used to it, started loving it. And then when I got to the end, I mean, the results were amazing. I felt better. I slept better. And then also I felt like I looked better. Yeah.
I mean, you had some amazing abs by the end of it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd look in the mirror and be like, whoa, where did those come from? So yeah, it was good times. So I actually documented, like I actually took pictures and videos quite regularly. So I think from week 4, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got like actual, like, before I had like slight ab definition. Week 4, I was like, no, you don't have to squint anymore. It's there. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh no, these are quite scary now. They are in your face. So yeah, I'd say after the first 4 weeks, you'll see like a difference. And the other people who are on it, it was great because some of the differences that they were saying weren't physical, which I thought was really cool. Someone had some serious issues when it came to like feeling sick all the time. They're like, that's gone. Loads of people lost weight. And one girl, her blood pressure had gone down. So like, yeah, I was like, this is great. It's just benefits. There's no like cons to doing it, apart from the fact that you might look at everyone else eating and be really jealous.
Did you go out?
Yeah. Yeah, so I went out to eat. Literally, it was just so annoying there was no alcohol as well, because obviously that's got sugar in it. So if we went out to eat, I would just drink water, which was fine.
Oh yeah, because you couldn't even have like a mocktail.
I couldn't have a mocktail. So yeah, so it was like I couldn't have like a Coke. Like, there was nothing I could have.
You didn't have like a no added sugar.
Oh
wow. Juice.
So the stipulation was you could have whole fruit, the sugar from the whole fruit because you get fiber,
Okay.
but you can have juice because then it's actually just sugar.
Oh wow.
So yeah, no fruit. No juice. But I don't eat fruit. So not really. So yeah, basically just nothing. So I'd have water if I went out. And then when it came to foods, I only went out maybe 3 or 4 times, and they were like very, like those like kind of organic restaurants. It wasn't like a chain. It would always be somewhere that it was like everything was made from scratch, made there. So that's how I got through.
Otherwise it gets very complicated.
Yeah, like I was eating like basically just like steak.
Okay.
And just things where it's like you can't put anything in this. So yeah.
Oh wow. So you've already mentioned how you were getting really good feedback from your community. How do you feel the day it ended? Like, were you like, oh, thank God that's over? Or
no, I was scared. It was so weird. Like even leading up to the end, I was like, what am I going to do when this is over? Like I can just eat anything. It was mad to me that I could just eat anything because I'd gone so long being like restricted. And so it was Christmas Day that we were able to eat whatever we wanted. And
what did you eat? What's the first thing you ate that wasn't on your list of things that you could have eaten before?
This is the thing, like my partner, he was like, I'm having whatever breakfast I want. I don't know what he got. I think it was like a takeaway breakfast. Oh, wow. But I was like, I'm having eggs, avocado, my sourdough bread. I was like, no, I have to start right. And then we went out for Christmas, for a Christmas dinner with our family. And what was the first thing I had? I don't actually remember. Oh no, I think it was, they were like passing around like celebrations. I was like, I can eat one of these.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, one turned into about 50. I binged. Like I literally ate so much, but it was quite funny because I was eating it and I was noticing that I didn't actually like it. I just kept eating it. Yeah. I was like, I'm eating this, I'm not enjoying it, but I can't stop. And so that was like quite an interesting distinction for me. I was like, oh, like I actually don't enjoy this stuff.
Oh wow. Yeah. Which celebration is your favorite?
Maltesers.
Oh, okay.
Which one's your?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which one's your least favorite?
I don't eat Bounty or Snickers. I don't eat.
Ah, Snickers is my second favorite.
I don't eat peanuts.
Oh my gosh.
At all.
Okay, nuts are my like thing.
Yeah, no.
Oh wow.
Because all the fitness things are like, yeah, eat nuts, and I'm like, oh.
This is the thing. So a lot of people are like, hey, so like, what snacks can I have on this challenge? And I'm like, well, the thing is, the majority, because I don't eat fruit, the majority of what I'm eating is nuts. And then there's people who are allergic to nuts. So I'm like, I'm like, so sorry. Or like people who don't like nuts. So I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but good luck.
Yeah, but you could have fruit.
Yeah, they can have fruit. Yeah.
I love fruit.
Yeah, but I think sometimes you might want to switch it up. So like I've learned, you know, you can have fruit, you can have nuts, obviously if you want.
What about granola?
Granola's got sugar in it.
Oh, that's why I like it.
Yeah. Granola is very sweet. I loved granola, but yeah, very sweet, lots of sugar in it. There are some sugar-free mueslis that you can have.
She said there are some sugar-free mueslis. I don't want sugar-free.
I know. You can also have popcorn from scratch. So
yes.
I can't really get like a packet popcorn. All of them are made with ultra-processed oils. So you can literally buy popcorn kernels and then make it at home. So I do that on the.
Oh, but don't add sugar to it.
No, you can add salt or like maybe like cinnamon or something. But yeah, no sugar.
Okay, great. And this is why I'm not on the challenge.
I know, it sounds dead. I don't know how to explain it. It's like once your palate adapts and is no longer used to like the other stuff, when you do eat all of these things like that, it's actually like so flavorful. You like taste it. Yeah. So you just trust the process, man.
No, I love it. I noticed online you've done a lot of swaps. So not this, have that, which I think that's when I really caught attention to what you were doing. Right, so I was like, oh, I didn't even know there were 2 different types of. I don't know if it was the ketchup or the mayonnaise, but I was like, wow, like the difference in ingredients is wild. Yeah, it's crazy. So how did that? What made you start sharing that online? Because it's really helpful.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things that attracted quite a few people to my journey, because they were like, oh, I didn't realize that there were alternatives or that there was so much stuff in this stuff that we usually eat. It was more that I was like, I am not going to live my life cooking everything from scratch all the time. Like I'm just not. I don't love cooking. I do it and I cook pretty well, but it's not my favorite. I find it very time consuming, and I'm like, why am I spending an hour and a half cooking something to eat it for 5 minutes? It doesn't make sense to me. So I was like, there has to be things in the shop that I can buy that are pre-made to a certain extent. So then I just literally would spend a ridiculous amount of time. I feel like if anyone who worked in any of the supermarkets I've been in like followed me around, they'd be like, what is she doing? So I literally would pick something up, read the label, be like, right, okay, now look at, like, literally looking at every single like option. So I started seeing that, okay, maybe if I wanted to have, I don't know, like a bolognese sauce, maybe I can't go for this one, but there actually is one available that I can go for. And then I started saying, if I didn't know this, maybe someone else might not know it. So I started sharing it, and that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. What's your favorite swap?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. There's like so many.
Or top three?
Okay, top three. I would say I used to love cereal.
Okay.
And then I realized I can't have any cereal. But then I was like, oh, maybe like Weetabix. Like Weetabix is good for you, right? Like when you're a kid, they're like, oh yeah, you know, have you had your Weetabix?
Weetabix, no.
So Weetabix isn't bad for you. It's just that it has added sugar in it. And I'm like, I don't know how much sugar they've put in. So rather than like me just risking it, I'll just have something that doesn't have sugar. So I found shredded wheat. And I know shredded wheat.
Okay, yeah. No, I like shredded wheat.
It's just like,
but I add.
Yeah, that's the thing. You add sugar, but you can top it with like berries or fruits or whatever. So I just have shredded wheat. It's literally one ingredient. It is just 100% wheat.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that's one of my favorite swaps. Whenever I want a cereal fix. And then I found some crisps recently because I've been dying. I was like, just snack-wise, I was like, I need something. So I found some crisps. I forgot they're quite a niche brand, and I can only find them in Waitrose or Ocado.
Okay.
Which I was going to say, which tells you everything you need to know. To be honest, living on non-ultra processed foods is not cheap.
Okay.
So yeah, eating well is not cheap, but I would say that it's less expensive than being unwell.
Yeah.
Once you're ill, no amount of money can really fix it for you. So yeah, it's a worthy investment. It just absolutely is an investment, and I do understand that it is a bit of a privilege, so I wouldn't like judge anyone if they're not able to do it.
No, I love that. So you mentioned that you've already had so many testimonies from your first challenge, and I know that you started another one.
Yeah.
How is that going? Did you get more people from the first one join again? Did you get more people this time as well?
Yeah, so I had a broadcast channel just on Instagram. I think with the first challenge, I think I had about 150 people.
Oh, that's a lot.
Which was cool. Now we're on 330 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like doubled. We've had people joining that they're starting again from the last challenge, and we've had like brand new people. So yeah, it's been really fun. It hasn't been anywhere near as hard as it was the first time, obviously, because I've done it before.
Yeah.
And it's like a new year, so I feel like everyone's got the energy to start something new. But yeah, I think it's something I'm going to do consistently over the year, just to see how many people I can get to go on this journey with me.
Yeah. Oh, I love it so much. So if someone wants to join, all they have to do is join your broadcast challenge.
Yeah.
Is it too late to join this challenge?
No, so I mean, people can join whenever they want. It always starts on a specific date and ends on a specific date. But I feel like once you join and once you start, then it's like you're getting yourself into that pattern. And if there are any questions or issues anyone has, people DM me all the time. And so if they're like, oh, I'm only starting now, what can I do? I'm happy to talk to them.
Oh, I love it. Changing gears slightly, what does self-care look like for you?
Oh, self-care it's like a whole encompassing thing. I feel like it's looking after your mind, your body, and your spirit, or whatever people want to call it. So it's prioritizing all sorts of things like my circadian rhythm, my sleep, a lot of biohacking. I care about that kind of stuff as well.
What is biohacking?
Biohacking is basically using different like hacks and techniques to live optimally.
Okay.
So things like when it comes to like your sleep hygiene, so maybe sleeping with your window open or just in a cooler temperature, getting rid of all of your electronic devices in the bedroom so that you're able to sleep better. You have like a better quality of sleep, waking up, and then as soon as you wake up, get some sunlight, going outside, putting your feet on the ground. It's basically your circadian rhythm is like the rhythm between like the time you wake up and the time you go to bed, and like making sure that everything's like in sync and aligned. So once the sun is up, you're up, kind of thing.
Okay.
So things like that. But then also reading. I love reading. obviously eating well, moving my body, I'm Christian, so praying, reading my Bible, all of that kind of stuff. And spending time with my loved ones. I feel like that's all part of self-care for me.
Okay. Oh, I love it. Perfect. I'm going to have to invite you back to go more in depth with this biohacking and all of that, because that sounds really interesting.
I'm definitely on that.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we have to wrap up. But where can we find you and find out more about your challenge and things like that?
So I am on Instagram, Beulah Davina, and I am on TikTok, Beulah Davina. So you can find out more about me there. I'm always happy to answer DMs, answer questions. So feel free to follow me or DM me, and yeah, we can connect.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Speaking with me.
This was so much fun.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it, and I look forward to having you back again very soon.
Perfect.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, another podcast episode. If anything stood out to you, let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to continue the conversation there. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and share this video with someone else. I'm sure they'll also find it very useful. But yeah, that is about it for another episode. We'll see you next time. Take care, stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.